Good evening, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. I'm your host, Saltan Hortz. For our top stories, all level educational organizations to start in-person classes from February 14th. 14 types of healthcare services are becoming online in 2022. This year, 4.3 trillion Mongolian turuk will be generated from the mining sector. For other news, stay tuned. The mining sector alone accounts for more than 90% of Mongolia's exports. In the 2022 budget, the mining sector has a relatively high budget revenue. An expert from the department informed us about this.
In 2022, 4.3 trillion MNT is planned to be collected as revenue. This is the highest possible number. It accounts for almost 27% of total revenue. In 2021, the mining sector managed to raise 4.1 trillion MNT. In Mongolia, the mining sector makes up to 24% of country's GDP, 69% of the industrial sector, 77% of foreign direct investment, and 93% of exports. According to last year, total revenue of the state budget was 13,362.3 billion MNT, of which almost 27% or 4,114.4 billion MNT was generated by the mining sector alone, reported by the Ministry of Mining and Heavy Industry. Before the pandemic, Mongolia used to export over 30 million tons of coal annually, but last year it exported only 16,138,000 tons. Despite the decline in the volume of mineral exports, the income from export in 2021 was equal to that of previous years as a result of high commodity prices on the world market in response to the pandemic. Starting from July this year, coal will be transported by rail to Kashinsukhat port. It costs about $40 to transport by road, but it is estimated to be 4 times cheaper by rail. It can be transported by Kashinsukhat port and transferred from there by track. Once the transshipment railway terminal is built, it will be possible to continue transporting by rail. 85% of coal exports go through Kashinsukhat and SEOUL border crossings, 54% of copper concentrate exports through Kashinsukhat, and 46% through Zamyot border crossing. In accordance with the instructions given by the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Mining presented a plan to intensify gold mining at the last government meeting. It is planned to produce 20 tons in 2022. The Prime Minister instructed the Minister to increase this number, and that the price of gold is always high when the economy is unstable. Economists also forecast higher gold prices for this year.
At the regular meeting of the Cabinet on February 9th, the Ministry of Finance and Acting Minister of Economic Development, Zhao briefed the Cabinet on the Prime Minister's visit to the People's Republic of China, as well as issues concerning border checkpoints that were discussed as part of the visit and the current state of affairs.
During the Prime Minister's visit to China, a number of additional meetings were organized, and this will be considered as a positive outcome of the visit. A working meeting was held with the Chinese National Development and Reform Commission's Deputy Chairman in charge of matters relating to Mongolia. At that meeting, we discussed 5 projects that are of high economic importance, including expansion of operations at border checkpoints such as Kashinsukhat, Kansmot, and SEOUL by connecting them via rail transport, and the railway border crossing points were agreed upon. We have now started discussions regarding the construction of a freight terminal for the railway connection. The feasibility study carried out by the Mongolian side for the terminal has been handed over to the Chinese side.
During the cabinet meeting, he also highlighted that the Prime Minister has tasked the responsible officials to complete the work to renew the border checkpoints by the end of the year.
Now let's take a look at some decisions made during the cabinet meeting.
During the government regular session held on Wednesday, it was decided that all level educational organizations start 100% in-person classes due to a decrease in the COVID-19 surge. For instance, according to the head of the National Emergency Commission, Amar Sehan's statement, COVID-19 confirmed cases have decreased by 56%, and the positive result percentage among total tests has decreased by 30% compared to last week. 31% of the total population, which is 52% of the target citizens, has received the booster dose. Head of the National Emergency Commission said that as booster immunization has involved 50% of the target citizens and daily COVID-19 cases have dropped, it was decided to start in-person lessons from next Monday. The government also resolved to transfer the Mongolian Japanese hospital to be under the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences in order to train students at the hospital and provide more opportunities to practice medicine. Ministers of Education and Science and Health were directed to monitor and develop its implementation. Also, during the Lunar New Year, the border point was closed for 3 days until February 4th. From February 4th until 8th, 268 containers of coal, or about 4,000 tons of coal, was exported through the ULAN-UDE border point. A total of 1,100 tons of coal had been accumulated at the border and was at risk of getting replaced due to warmer weather. Besides ULAN, coal exports have returned to normal at Gashonshuat, Hang, and Pulkan border points.
The Ministry of Health is aiming to transfer some services to an online system this year. 14 types of healthcare services are being transferred to an online platform. Also, by the end of this year, every Mongolian citizen will have an electronic card that will store patients' information on its database.
Citizens have the opportunity to make appointments, get vaccination certificates, get enrolled on a disability list and maternity list online without having to go to the hospital. In the past, people used to receive medical records on paper, but now they are stored virtually. The information stored in the citizen's medical history from birth to death will be stored on a database. There are a lot of advantages from the citizen's point of view. We are also connecting the provinces to a system, and the information that requires a large amount of information can be transferred directly from one hospital to another. For example, tomography performed locally or in Hohokanga province can be transferred to the 3rd National Central Hospital. When exchanging information between hospitals, there should be no loss of quality when information is transferred from one place to another. Citizens will have the advantage of not having to waste time. These e-transfers must be completed with funding from the World Bank. When this is done, any piece of information will be stored in one directory database. It will then be moved to a healthcare data exchange platform. By the end of this year, every citizen will have an electronic card.
The Ministry of Health and the National Center for Communicable Diseases provided its daily updates on COVID-19 status in Mongolia. 1,230 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed today and 3 additional deaths reported.
The Ministry of Health today reported that 1,230 new COVID-19 cases were detected after tests were carried out at PCR laboratories across the country. 3 people, all with underlying health conditions, died of COVID-19 complications in the past 24 hours. All new cases are of domestic transmission, 602 out of which were confirmed in ULANBAATAR, and the remaining 628 were confirmed in the provinces. 5,800 COVID-19 patients are being treated at hospitals nationwide. Additionally, 21,606 are being treated at home. Among the COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals nationwide, 1,462 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 53 are in critical condition. As of now, around 2.70 million or 69% people have had 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine and 31% of the population has received the booster shot so far.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here comes the weather forecast for the world's major cities. This is it for today. Thanks for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.